Hey guys, this is Sam and welcome back to my channel yet again. And this video is going to be slightly different because DC, they have just dropped two massive trailers. One of them is the Aquaman trailer, the other one is Shazam. And I was about to go to bed when I saw the trailers. I'm like, I have this sort of ongoing theory looking at similarities between two movies that's going to come out this year. One of them is already here. It came out in February, and that is Black Panther. Personally, I love the film. It was great. And what stuck with me the most about that film was how sad Killmonger's stories is. Like many people has mentioned how great of a villain is, but I'm just feeling bad for him, you know? Growing up without a daddy, that's just horrible. My theory for Aquaman's story beat in this movie and Black Panther's story that we already know, I think there are some really interesting similarities that I don't think many people has pointed out yet. So I'm just gonna throw it out there, get some discussion going, and just let me know what you think. So first one, it's in the story. So we all know Black Panther happens after Captain America's Civil War. Yet to be king, T'Challa returns home to take the throne, and one of the things he has to deal with is the legacy of the throne, as well as the country of Wakanda in their isolationist ways of life. And what's similar about this, in a really rough sense, is how Arthur is being persuaded by yet-to-be Queen Mira to go back to Atlantis and take his rightful place as a king. And when we talk about the rightfulness of being a king, King T'Challa, when he returns home and returns to the ancestor dimension, ancestor domain, and what he said was this: he feels like he's not ready. Similarly, Arthur says in the trailer that he feels like he's not worthy, so they both have doubts of them being the king. Maybe Arthur is more tending towards the hesitancy and the reluctance to take up the throne. He feels like he's always been an outsider, so how is he going to be accepted by the people of Atlantis? Where what's different for T'Challa is that he's always been Wakandan, and he seems to be very popular among his people by how they react to him in Warriors Falls, in the trial by combat. And in terms of trial by combat, we see in the trailer that King Orm is having a massive beatdown with Arthur, and that's also the same with T'Challa. Somehow this looks extremely interesting, and what's intriguing the most about me is how fast they throw their hands up. What's very interesting in terms of similarities about the culture of both Wakanda and Atlantis is how it's united sort of subcultures within a big culture and country. So Wakanda's, it has the many different tribes, the river tribe, the border tribe, the mining tribe. So those are the few that I could think of right now. And Atlantis, it's mentioned in the trailer that it's got united the seven seas, and you can see how they write different sea creatures, which is freaking epic. And another similarity is that how both T'Challa and Arthur, they face an enemy who's also worthy of the throne, and they also have a more aggressive agenda towards the outside world. We know from the trailer that King Orm wants to wage war against the surface world. That's what he does in the comics already. And Killmonger, he just wants to destroy and change the status quo of the entire world by shipping out vibranium all over the world. So yeah, so that's also another similarity. So that's also it. Looking at the similarities in the design, both look absolutely stunning. Atlantis, it's just got a different style. And comparing to the Afrofuturism of Wakanda, of Black Panther, this just looks like pure fantasy, which I personally, I like it a lot. And some other thing in the design aesthetic is how they combine the crazy futuristic tech with this sort of ancient and more traditional weapons. So the spears and knife and the shields combination for both Black Panther and Aquaman. So that's extremely interesting, I found. And after talking about some similarities, let's talk about some difference in the story. So I think what's going to be quite different is the backstory for the villain. So for Killmonger, he comes from the outside. Killmonger knows his people is oppressed outside, while King Orm, he grows up with this deep hatred somehow, deep hatred and anger towards the surface world. Maybe because we just mess up the environment really bad, and the pirates. Everybody hates the pirates, and also the king's motivation and their journey is most likely going to be different. So T'Challa's motivation is just to get back, just to be a nice king, sort out everything. While King Arthur, he wants to prevent a war, devastation to both the people of Atlantis and the surface world. And maybe Superman will have to step in. And I don't know what that's going to happen. And in terms of the story beat between the king and his adversary. So for Black Panther, it's really interesting how the views of T'Challa and the views of Killmonger, they converge together. So it's a converging storyline. That's just my description of it. And it looks like Aquaman and his half-brother King Orm, they are on a divergent path. While the closest they've ever been was that they're just half-brothers. And ever since, and as time goes on, their paths only diverge and ended up in a war, which looks, again, amazing. In Black Panther, everyone's joking about this war rhino thing, but come on, they're riding on white sharks now. Who the hell cares? It just looks so awesome. I am so excited for this. I can't believe it's out in December, not November or October though. That's my biggest complaint. And some final notes. Both looked amazing and a lot of fun. But DC's combat style compared to Marvel's, it just looks more dynamic and really, really pops out on the screen. And Marvel, it's lots of really cool hand-to-hand combat, but there's this kind of impact in the DC movies. That's just slightly different. I think it's from the way it's shot and also the sound effect as well. But again, I like both. I'm a big fan of both. So I couldn't really care about this DC Marvel debate. I'm just glad I get to enjoy movies when I'm just suffering in Oxford. So yeah, that's my thoughts in the thematic similarities between Aquaman and Black Panther. I hope you enjoyed this little chat and let me know what you think. By the way, that awesome song in the trailer is Children of the Sun by Two Steps from Hell. Thank me later by subscribing.